Hi, my name is Daniel Martinez, and I will talk about my project, which is lung health issues and endurance. So let's start with the research question. Okay, what impact does smoking tobacco cigarettes have in your body resistance / performance compared to smoking electronic cigarettes in young people from 17 to 20 years? My hypothesis was that if people smoke electronic cigarettes, then their performance or running resistance and health won't be as affected as normal cigarette smokers. Here, I justified it with the part of that smoking electronic cigarettes is as harmful as smoking normal tobacco cigarettes. But the main difference between one and the other is not the damage it does to your body, but the amount of chemicals one contain in difference from the other. It is estimated that one normal tobacco cigarette, contains approximately 7,000 chemicals, and that's why I wrote that hypothesis. Um, Let's go on. In theoretical framework, there was a lot of information. That's why I summarized it into 5 bullets. The first bullet says that the nicotine addiction in teenagers is very high, and lately cigarettes and and cigarettes have been overconsumed. It's a really big addiction. That's why in Mexico, around of 20% of men smoke, and nearly 10% of women also smoke. This smoke addiction is due to the fact that not a lot of people know about the effects of smoking. Okay, so the second bullet is that the first things we can see with the cigarettes is the damage to the lungs that can get you to a deadly cancer. That's one of the bad effects. And it also affects directly your performance in physical activities and in your daily life activities. So it's really harmful for your body and your, well, yes, in general for your body. Some reasons why people smoke are stress, peer pressure, and basically the lack of knowledge. Okay, I just saw that I skipped one bullet. The fumes, or also known as the smog or the smoke found in tobacco cigarettes, mainly affect the amount of oxygen it enters to one's bloodstream, the lungs and the heart, which results in shortness of breath and dizziness. Both electronic and tobacco cigarettes contain chemicals that can affect your body and that can affect your body endurance due to the fact that some particles stay in the lungs. When you smoke something, some particles stay in your lungs, and that can affect your endurance and your health in general. So let's go on to the next slide. That it's the experimental design, the variables. Independent variable. My independent variable is that type of cigarette, the electronic, normal, and none, and people who will run because it's not the same person being tested. The dependent variable was that the time they'll get to the finish line. The results, as I just explained, it will totally depend on the type of person being tested, and the time they've done will be was our dependent variable. Materials, okay? So in materials, what we used was cigarettes, electronic cigarette chronometer, and a computer to take notes of the results. Also, we used a jogging track to make the test. Okay, our methodology was that what we did in this project was quite simple. First of all, we chose 9 people, okay? Out of those 9 people, 3 were non-smokers, 3 were smokers, and the other 3 were the electronic device smokers, electric cigarette smokers, sorry. Each people from these 3 groups was tested 3 times. So in total, we had 9 results per group. Okay. Well, yes, that was our methodology. So here, as I just explained, we tested each people 3 times. Here it is, person 1, 3 times, and we got the average. Sorry, we did this process with each person out of these 3 groups, and here we can basically see the numbers we had and compare it. And here you can know which one is worst or best for your resistance or endurance. In this section 2, what we basically did was represented in a more graphical way. Here you can see the previous results, but in a different representation. And on my right side, on the right side of this slide, you can see the mean, median, mode, minimum, maximum range, variance, and standard deviation of each group, and the average in total. Here you can see it represented. It's quite nice and organized. So let's go on to the next slide. My null hypothesis was that there is no difference with the time it took the 3 groups to finish the 5-kilometer run. I forgot to say that each person did a 5-kilometer run. Okay. The alternative hypothesis, that there is at least 2 groups that have different times / results. In this case, my p-value was really, really small. And that's why we rejected the null hypothesis. Here you can see it, reject null hypothesis. Let's go on to the next slide. This is some extra information, and basically these are screenshots of the Excel I personally did to more or less, well, get more information about this project, more extra information. The discussion. Basically, I found one experiment. It was done by Chia Lun Li and Wendy and Chan. And basically those tests, that test tested the effects of smoking in anaerobic exercising. Very generally speaking, after reading this experiment, the conclusion they got was quite obvious. Smoking does affect the endurance in comparison with non-smoker people. So basically what they did was compare the normal tobacco smokers with non-smokers. And they proved how the fatigue in smokers is significantly noticeable with the test they did. So here in a graphical representation, you can see how smoking tobacco, normal cigarettes, affects your endurance. Here, as you can see, they did a lot of more work. They had a lot of more fatigue and many negative consequences. Well, we know that tobacco does affect your endurance with the really abbreviated experiment. I just paraphrased. Sorry, I just summarized. But the real question is which one affects more, tobacco or electronic cigarette? Basically, what I need to know which one is more harmful was researching about the components and chemicals of each one. A normal cigarette contains around 7,000 chemicals, and an electric one contains less than 300 toxic compounds. Okay, so here you can compare that a normal cigarette contains 7,000 versus the electronic cigarette that contains 300. So, well, basically, the more harmful one is a normal tobacco cigarette. With this information, a little common sense, you can infer which one does more harm to your lungs. Well, in conclusion, well, the project was really simple in terms of understandability. And if you see the tables, you can infer which form of smoking affect your resistance / endurance. First, well, as I already explained, we divided the 3 groups, and in each group of 3 people, those 3 people were tested 3 times. And that is more or less to know if it decreases or increases its performance in the upcoming trials. Also, we agreed in testing a group of non-smokers to know the normal time of a person. And after testing those people, we got the mean or the average of each group. So in total, we had 9 averages. Well, sorry, of each person. So in total, we had 9 averages. And out of those 9 averages, we more or less compared it, and our hypothesis was proven correct. The electronic cigarette smokers have better endurance compared to normal smokers. Okay, the average of normal smokers was from 41.33 to 44 in a 5-kilometer run, while an electric cigarette one was from 36 to 39. So this experiment was mainly to prove which one is less harmful, but we all agreed that we do not recommend the smoking in general, because it does a lot of harmful things to your body. We don't recommend it, in other words. Some improvements, we can do our testing these people, but in few more years. This is to mainly record the long-term effects of the type of smoking. Some questions that come to my mind could be that, do electronic cigarettes affect the same in long-running distances as short ones? And how does the quitting consumption of this drug makes an effect in your endurance? We had one limitation, that was coronavirus. I think everyone struggled with this big pandemic because, well, for me, basically the communication is key in everything. And that's something I struggled with. And that's all. Thank you. Here are my references, if you want to see them. Here's the reference of the project I found on the internet, sorry, the NCBI one. And that's all. Thank you for listening, and I just finished.